I think that people don't have enough sex, enough quality sex, and really a lot of frequency. There was a study recently done that said only 32% of women are satisfied with their sex life, but 42% of men, which surprised me actually. But that's still less than half of the people walking around. And as I say, if people were having an orgasm a day, we could cure road rage. I feel like the benefits of a really healthy sex life, they do lower stress hormones. They do help you live longer. For women, you glow for days. For men, they feel like, the king of the world. But this is how we were made. This is how God made us. This is nature. It's natural and normal. But unfortunately, a lot of people through society get into relationships where other areas are really good, or it's a financial decision rather than a sexual one, and the intimacy suffers. And then when it's gone on for so long, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, years, a lot of people, years and years. And it's like we've come so far apart. How do we come back together? How do we reconnect? And that's something that I help people with.
What are some of the most like the very first steps that usually get people into to get back to like where they were before?
It's about communication and conversation. When they tell me what's going on for them, often I can just give them one or two sentences or one or two questions to ask their partner in a way that drops their guard, in a way that brings the defense down. For instance, I had someone who said, we haven't had sex in 10 or 12 years. And I said, and it was actually after Mega, where I spoke about the differences between the genitalia and the mindsets that I said on very publicly on stage that men love their penis. No one needs to tell a man how great it is to have a penis because they all believe that. Whereas for women, we don't get that messaging. We didn't get that messaging. We actually got no messaging, or it's bad or dirty or wrong or smelly, and that it's something to be ashamed of in a way, and that if you like sex, you're a slut, or these sort of messaging were very, very rife, particularly for women over 40, 50. And so I said to this gentleman, I said, if you really love your wife, perhaps you could start by saying, hey, I just saw an interview with a lady on stage who mentioned that girls get this messaging when they're little. What sort of messaging did you get about your vagina when you were little? Or what did your mother teach you about sex? And I think it's a way to open up the conversation and sort of bring it back to, oh, this is not my fault. This is nobody's fault. If you don't have the information, you're not at fault. It's not anything that is anybody's to blame. It's something that we can say, oh, wow, we both don't know this about each other, and we can start a conversation.
Wow, very, very interesting. When you got into this path for yourself, was there something that you kind of did not expect that kind of came up in front of you that you had to change and maneuver, that you had to rethink things through, or did things kind of just go went according to plan for you?
No, it became very strategic. How the strategy became important for me. Like, how do I do this? I was a little bit concerned about, yeah, like you say, being labeled. And as we discussed, I am a lifestyle strategist. So it is about the lifestyle. And I find a lot of successful, wealthy people who are absolutely crushing it in their career and their money. Actually, their personal lives are in a little bit of tatters, and it seems to go hand in hand. So I think getting myself in front of these people and wording it in a way that piqued their interest. And one stage we were at a training event in Bali, and those stand-up tables where you usually stand with a drink at the like a kind of a bar, and a few men were sort of they heard who I am and what I do, and they're like, but how, like what exactly do you do? And I started just talking about my story and got really passionate about it and how important it is. And I looked up and I had 5 guys just staring at me like, because they'd never thought about it. No one thinks about it. So I think the most surprising thing is that people are so grateful. And after Mega, I got so many thank yous, so many messages, so many shout outs on social, because it is a taboo topic. And as I said too, if you're starting out a new relationship, it seems to be something that people can talk about. But some people have been in that relationship for 10, 15, 20 years and haven't talked about it in a while. So it gives them an opportunity to start a new conversation and get the life that they want and deserve, because then they're not happy with the lack of sex and intimacy in their life. And I've given them permission to start a new conversation.